Hey YouTube, as you guys know, potatoes. It's now midnight on my birthday, and I am going to be working on KC Noire. This is my main development laptop. I run Ubuntu 10 because I don't really like 11. I have code blocks for my integrated development environment. People in the IRC, but not much. And then stuff on Netflix to watch. It looks like last thing I worked on was title screen stuff. So basically what I need to do right now is figure out what I'm going to work on next and kind of do a little bit of design work before actually implementing stuff, or maybe even prototyping work, but we'll see. I'll keep you updated. Okay, so here's an example of how the gameplay might work. This is a sample mission, Case of the Missing Pizza. So, the case begins and you call and order a pizza, but then you go take a nap or take a shower or something, and the pizza never arrives. So, how do you figure out what happened to your pizza? Well, let's say that you have a roommate. You have a roommate, Bacon. He was supposed to answer the door for you. Maybe you had to run to the store to get some Mountain Dew. So, this is your first lead. He's your roommate. Your first location is your guys' apartment. And that's about it. And then let's see, for items, I guess you could check, say, the fridge. Maybe stuff isn't quite as you left it in the fridge, but that could just be a normal occurrence. Or something could be amiss. So, you talk to Bacon. Ask what happened to the pizza. It's hard to think these things up really quickly, but... So, from querying him, he tells you that his friend Olefant was over while you were out of the grocery store. So then you have a second lead. Bacon doesn't know what happened to your pizza. He answered the door. He put the pizza on the table. So, but he doesn't know what happened, because maybe he was distracted or something else, blah blah blah. So Olefant was over. Maybe he took the pizza. So your next location is Olefant's place. So then you go there, and you query him. What happened to my pizza? It's like, well, I don't know what happened to your pizza. Is he trustworthy? You query some more. What happened when you were hanging out at my place? And he's like, well, I decided to go get dinner since the pizza made me hungry. And, so maybe he went to go get dinner with a friend of his. Maybe not a friend of yours. Maybe not someone you know. It's hard to write on a board through a camera. He went out to dinner at IHOP with Programmer in Progress. So now you have a third lead. They went out to dinner. Olefant went home. Or did they? Maybe they went back to your place to see some games, and then they went home, because they weren't there when you were there. And who is this guy? So then, maybe you go to the IHOP, because that's where they went to eat. What do you see there? Maybe there's some people who saw something. Maybe you find a slice of pizza on the ground that got dropped. Pizza? So then... God, this is hard to do. So, something's linked to him. You ask Bacon again, he's like, who was this person who was in our place? Maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't. I didn't think this out very well. See, designing and writing stories is hard, but okay, this is sort of just how it's gonna work. With the chicken items, getting leads, talking to people, though. I still haven't written the story for the first mission yet either, though. $2:48 a.m. I got some parts of the notebook stuff done. So if we look over, where do I have the notebook? Scripts, notebook. There's some different functions. I can say, oh, this is gonna be hard, this camera doesn't stand up on its own. There, that's better. So once we add stuff to there, we can say, book is item in notebook, and we'll do a search for character.bob, true, about Jim, false. We can say something else like print book get size of notebook, which is interesting because apparently Lua doesn't have a way to just say, hey, give me the size of this table. You have to go iterate through it yourself. And then if I want the notebook contents, I'll say book get notebook contents. That returns a delimited list, which in the C++ code it will go ahead and parse that. So if I run this program, there's my KC Noire thing. Game is best in 50 by 80 by 50 console window. Okay. So up here I have the main HUD. It says your commands up here. You have your location, the room you're in, description of the room. It'll tell you what's adjacent, and I'm not going to keep this here, but it will, right now it lists out all of the items that is in that room. And then here's just a temporary list of evidence and then locations. So if you look at the notebook wrapper, it basically just has, it just wraps Lua functions. So we have add item to notebook here, and then we have the Lua version of it over here. Type in. So in here, add item to notebook, you pass it a entity type and key, so it's going to be something like item dot item name. Then all of the wrapper functions are kind of formatted this way, and this is very redundant. I need to figure out what to do with this, but so it'll use luabind to call a function, get a return type of boolean, pass in this, which is a string, and then if there's an error, it'll have a little error code for me to check and then return the result. So we have that, we have the notebook wrapper, and then there's the notebook object, which has stuff like display notebook locations, add items to notebook. So if I open the actual notebook class, display notebook locations, it's obviously not just directly calling Lua functions, it's calling the C++ versions, which calls the Lua stuff and might do parsing or other formatting.